this video, I want to show you how to replace the washers in a spigot. This applies to both areas like a laundry supply or outside. In this video, I'm using some gloves, some Teflon tape or pipe sealant, miscellaneous hand tools, including wrenches, pliers, screwdriver, small hammer, and some picks possibly, a work light or a headlamp, some paper towels, and some faucet washers. For the first step, I'm going to turn off the water. You'll need to locate the valve at the street, and it's typically just a 90-degree turn like this. Then I'm going to open up the lowest valve in the house and drain it of water. After turning off the water supply, I'm going to connect to the bottom here, and these are typically two parts. There's one nut and here's the other nut. I'm going to remove this first nut, and this way this entire thing can come out. You want to be careful you're not applying torque to the actual pipe, so make sure and keep this firm right here on the bottom one. I should slowly break loose. With the valve removed, you can remove the top nut. This is the packing nut. This removes the same way. You'll need 2 wrenches. Next, you can remove the top of the valve handle. There's a screw or a nut right here. This might be seized on with corrosion. What you can do is tap it on the ground. Once you feel it wiggling, you can typically just pull it off now. Next, I'm going to remove the packing nut. And this is really old material here. This wasn't a washer, I don't think. This was a material that you pack in there, and it's like a fiber type stuff, so I'm going to have to clean this out. I just have a pick to clean it. Make sure and scrape it flat so that there's a good surface to seal on. And I got it pretty clean, so you can see that. You want to see the bare brass. Next, I'm going to remove the flat washer here so that it'll seal completely. And I'm going to replace it with the closest match in my kit. In this case, it's going to be the 1/4 L, so they're an exact match. So I'm going to set this in here. Put the screw back on. Now the hard part is to get a new bevel washer on. I already replaced the other spigot, so I know that this is the closest size for this. And because this hole is really small and this is a big shaft, you really have to stretch it. So I just spit on here to lubricate it a little bit. And I'm going to try to stretch it out with my screwdriver. Like this. And now it's just the hard part, that's putting it on. Oh, and also make sure and face the bevel part up. Once you have it on, you could try to work it down with a pick or a screwdriver or something. It makes it a little easier. Try not to damage it. So once you get it past the shoulder here, you can put the nut back on and just rotate it. It makes it a lot easier to get on. And then start screwing it onto the other part. And I'm trying to make sure there's at least 3 threads on, so it's secure. And now it's ready to put back on. Knob back on. And to make it easier to thread on, I'm going to put some thread sealant on the threads here. Doesn't take much, it's just to lubricate it a little bit. And I'm going to back this out all the way. Might be a little hard to turn with that washer in there. There we go. A little easier to turn as that little rubber washer breaks in a little bit. So now I'm just going to tighten this back up. Same thing, make sure you're holding on to the bottom one so don't torque the pipe. It doesn't have to be too tight. I'm just going to go right back here. Make sure you can still rotate the knob. I'm going to back this, backing it out a little bit because it's really tight. Wish I could rotate it, back it up all the way, and tighten it down just a little bit. I'm going to keep going until it's kind of hard to rotate. It's a little hard. Back it back up. That should be good. Now I'm going to screw it down. Make sure these are both shut. And now it's time to turn back on the water. I'm going to open up this valve a little bit. Make sure I can see some water flow. Take a look at the valves, make sure they're not leaking. Everything looks good. And that's how to replace the sealing washers in your spigots.